restless. I am so restless. And this changing world leaves me speechless. I am lost for words, but I kept my nerve.
If women get no justice, then they don't get no peace.
You're here in support of the Dirty Women Rally?
Yes,
Why are you supporting the Dirty Women Rally?
we're here simply to support and show solidarity with those fighting for their rights.
Why are you supporting the Dirty Women Rally?
Are you kidding me? Because one, I'm a woman. Because two, women are not second-class citizens, and we're kind of tired of it. We shouldn't be here fighting for our reproductive rights, for women's rights, who are human rights. And this is 2017. We should already be in level with men. There shouldn't be a wage gap. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on.
Tell me about your hat. How come your hat look funny?
It looks funny
What kind of
to
hat is
you? It's called a pussy hat.
Welcome to the Fallen State. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. It's Women's History Month, and I have with me Professor Sheila Briggs, Associate Professor of Religion and Gender Studies at USC. Thank you so much for coming here today. What is the purpose of Women's History Month?
Women's History Month. One of the big problems that any group has that in some way has been oppressed is they lose contact to their history. And every group needs to learn from their history, find resources in their history, and also warnings in their history. So it's about making people aware of women's past, and it's also a chance to reflect on that past and what it can teach us for what we need to do today.
Should we have a Men History Month so men can learn about their past as well?
I think what we need are history months for persons who, as I say, have tended not to be part of history. When Women's History Month and Black History Month were created back in the 70s, that at that time, basically what history was a history of white men. And the idea was to get away from that limitation and include other people's history. So yes, we need the history of everybody, but to get there, you need things like Black History Month and Women's History Month.
You are a professor, associate professor of religion and gender studies at USC. Are you a Christian?
Yes.
You're a Christian. And so exactly what do you teach about religion at USC?
I teach the history of Christianity. I teach the history of Christian theology. I'm specialized in early Christianity, but also in later periods. I teach the religion and science course.
So you only teach about Christianity, no other religion, right?
I sometimes, because Christianity has never been totally isolated from other religions, and Christianity began as part of Judaism.
Right.
So I will teach also about ancient Judaism when I'm teaching early Christianity. And I'll also, when I'm out teaching other classes where it's appropriate, if I'm teaching religion and science, I will remind people that of the great Islamic tradition of science, which for many centuries the Islamic world was way ahead of the West in terms of science.
You also teach gender studies.
Mm-hmm.
What is gender studies?
So gender is something that it's a key part of a person's identity, and it's not something, it's the same as in race, it's not something you choose. It's something that you are faced with. It's changeable, but it's a social identity.
But we only have
individuals in society have to negotiate that.
We only have two genders, and that male and female, right? And so you teach about those two things, male versus female, or male and female. Am I right about that?
Yes.
There's no other gender, right?
Well, gender is actually a rather flexible thing. No, not our Western culture is a culture like you get a form, it says male, it says female, you
Right.
tick one. But there are some cultures which actually do have more than one gender.
But we don't have that here.
We don't have that here.
And so you're just teaching about male and female.
Well, I don't teach. I'm teaching about Christianity. I'm teaching about the Western world.
Right. You know, I wanted to ask you about the nasty women rally they had in Washington, D.C. and around the country. Were you a part of any of that?
I went to the women's rally here in L.A.
Oh, you did? The women there was really, really dirty. You know, you had Madonna dreaming about blowing up the White House. You had women wearing these pink hats.
I'd have loved to have had one, but I didn't have time to make one.
And they're supposed to represent the vagina or something, right? Those hats. Did you want to wear a vagina hat on your head?
You know, there's various stories about that. I think that the hats haven't really.
They
got
said
anything to do with
vagina.
it.
I asked. I talked to them.
It's from Pussy Riot. I
Right.
think that's. But it's.
Would you have wanted to wear a pussy hat on your head?
If I'd have been able to get one, because I think it was a way of saying, look, we women are here. We are not going to allow our reproductive rights to be taken away. That was one of the major focuses.
But
of
the way
march.
normal people saw that, they saw these women as being men haters, you know, family hating, abortion, LGBT, homosexual kind of women. And they displayed themselves in a way where a normal man would never consider marrying them or even associating with them because they were so gross in those rallies.
Look, I was on the streets that day, and there were 750,000 folk here in LA on the streets.
Right.
It was amazing, and like these were all sorts of people. I mean,
I know, but it was dirty people.
No,
You had Black Lives Matter, you had the radical homosexuals, you had the
So
LGBT.
you think Black Lives Matter is a nasty thing?
Yes. They are worse than the KKK.
You think that Black Lives Matter? So you don't think that Black Lives Matter?
I think they need to be gotten rid of. They are worse than the KKK, and we're going to tolerate Black Lives Matter.
You think that the Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because it's a very radical, agitative, evil organization that is built of radical black lesbians and
But it's
radical
particularly about protecting
black
young black
homosexuals.
men.
No, they never went into the black areas at all.
Well-
Black on black crime out of control, and the only thing they did
You
was
sound like you know. Look, black on black crime. This idea that black on black crime is out of control. Yes, black communities have problems, but actually, crime is down in the United States. If anywhere where crime
Well, you need
is
to send that
rising,
notice to Chicago.
is in white communities.
just the other day, there were young black males who raped a young 14-year-old black girl. I just did a story on that. And the black on black crime in Chicago through the roof. And you never saw Black Lives Matter marching in those areas, demanding that the police go in there and clean up the mess. Obama did nothing about it. And so it's just out of control. They're pretending that it's not, but the reality that it is. So that's why one of the reasons I say that Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK, because they're encouraging hatred rather than love. What did you
there are lots of folk involved in Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a movement that has come out of the black community, but it's made alliances with lots of groups. If you actually see black...
Well, all evil groups, though, not with good people.
The thing is, you say they're not with good people, but like these are the ordinary folks of America and California. These are people of all ages, or races, or genders, or classes. It's about people coming together to build something better.
But would ordinary people chant in a rally, what do we want, dead cops, when do we want it now, pigs in the blanket, fry them like bacon, and right after that, some folks go out and start killing cops?
Look,
Would ordinary people do that?
Black Lives Matter
But
is
answer
not
that though.
about
Would
doing
ordinary people do that?
in any political movement. You're always going to have the loonies around.
No,
who do
these were
loony stuff.
the heads of it.
But these are not the people who are the heads of it.
No, I've interviewed them. Take my word, it was.
Yeah, well, this sounds, you sound a bit like Mr. Trump. You know?
Thank you.
Take my word on this.
Yeah.
Even though nobody in Black Lives Matter has been the leadership has ever said anything like this.
No, they have. Are you here for the Dirty Women rally?
My name is Alifa. Yes, I am here for the women's rally.
And why? What are you supporting at this rally?
I'm supporting different dimensions of reality,
Like what?
like all lives, Black lives, every life matter, trans march. You need to be a person of color to know that. If you're white, you might not know what I mean. So I'm just saying we need these people back out on the street talking and collaborating.
These women are saying that President Trump is against women. Do you agree to
It's
that?
against niggers.
Against what?
Niggers.
So you would have worn, had you had a pussy hat, you would have worn it in public at the Dirty Women rally.
You call the dead, but like, there were all sorts of folks.
But
there.
they're all dirty.
They weren't all dirty. I like, like some of the
You're
people
not
I
telling
saw
me
there.
yes. You don't look like a lady.
There were nuns in habits. There was a local Catholic parish that sent its group to this march, not to the other. Some people from that. There were all sorts of people.
But dirty people. But
you
tell
call-
me
you call
yes
it-
or no,
but,
you would have worn a pussy hat in public.
I would have worn a pussy hat in public.
You would? You're a
For
professor.
the march. For the march. I'm not going to necessarily wear
What point would you have wanted to make with that hat?
It was just as any symbol. When you go on a march, it's a way of symbolizing that you are part of the march and part of
I
that
know, but
agenda.
you're a Christian and you teach Christianity.
And I
and
just think-
Christianity is a noble religion. It's like the light of the world, the salt of the earth. And wearing a pussy hat is not the light of the world.
Christianity is also about justice, fundamentally about justice. Look, it may be that I'm a Roman Catholic.
Right. That's
So
why I would expect
believe
more from you.
I believe, but Roman Catholics, we don't all agree on the same things. But the one thing that joins most Roman Catholics together is our commitment to social justice, to preserving the planet, and to providing justice
Well,
for
that's
all.
new. Roman Catholics haven't always been that way.
No, precisely.
They have allowed the pussy hat women to get in there and mess it up.
Well, that's the way you want to think about it, yes. I mean, hey, I would go with that. Francis is on our side. He's giving women power in the church.
I know.
Yes. He believes in climate change. Yeah.
What a mess, huh?
So, and he
You think
doesn't
Pope-
believe that we should throw away people.
Do you think Pope Francis would wear a pussy hat?
No, I don't think
I
that
didn't
Pope
think
Francis
so.
would put a pussy hat.
Who is God? You're a Christian. Who is God?
Who is God?
Yes.
Well, God is more than we can imagine. God is a being that transcends everything that we are and that we can know. But as a Roman Catholic, I believe that God has become known to us through Jesus Christ.
Have God and his son Jesus been given a bad rap with these far left people? They present him as weak. They present him as a social justice person. They present him as accepting everything that's wrong rather than who he really is. And as a Catholic person, are you happy with that?
Well, it was Jesus who preached the Sermon on the Mount and talked about loving your enemies. It was Jesus who gave the Beatitudes, including blessed are the poor, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the peacemakers. Well, I can follow that, Jesus.
But Jesus was never, and is not for the sin that human being lives in their fallen state. Do you believe human beings are in a fallen state?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so is it true that Jesus came that human beings may overcome that fallen state and not accept it and promote it as a norm?
Well, within my religious tradition of Catholicism, we had a very great theologian, Augustine. And he realized the depths of human sinfulness, but he also realized the power of divine grace.
Right.
And in our tradition, I expect the split between the right and the left is those, we both see a world sunk in, fallen in, to use your terms, fallen in sin,
Right.
transformed by grace.
Right.
Those on the right want to put the emphasis on the fallen in sin. Those of us on the left want to put the emphasis on transformed by grace.
But you're not transforming if you're accepting the abnorm, the sin, as a norm. I don't hear, even at the rally, the women rally, I didn't hear them repudiating with love the radical homosexuals, the LGBT people, Madonna, who was as confused as a doorknob. Some other people were saying crazy things. I didn't hear anyone repudiating those people. They were accepting them in the fallen state rather than showing them how to overcome it. And Jesus would never agree with that.
Well,
Wouldn't you agree?
I hate to point this out to you, but Jesus had nothing to say about what we today call homosexuality.
Well, I just meant by everything that was there, or the fallen state, period, not just homosexuality.
But everybody.
But he did have something to say about it. He said
state.
it was an offense. God hate that kind of stuff.
Well,
and so he did talk about it. He didn't, he doesn't like sin anyway, but he definitely didn't like that.
Yeah, but for Jesus, and I think this is one of the huge problems that we have in the modern West, is that we see sin primarily in sexual terms, whereas actually, sexually, that isn't where people sin. Where people sin is in the economic realm, in the political realm. And that's where we need to be talking about sin.
What is sin?
Sin is a turning away from God towards oneself. And when that happens, when a person turns away from God and turns to themselves, doesn't matter if you're a Christian. Being a Christian isn't going to protect you from this unless you look carefully within yourself. When you turn away from God into yourself, as a Christian, you will become self-righteous. You will actually see sin in others rather in yourself. So one of the ways which I explain many problems, particularly say in the right-wing Christianity is...
The what?
Right-wing Christianity.
Right-wing?
Yeah, is that when you turn away from God, it will eventually lead to you turning away from your neighbor, because you will see yourself as self-righteous. You will create your own Jesus, your own Christianity, and judge and condemn other people by that standard.
So then you would agree with me then on the left, because let's say that, I don't know what you're saying is right about the right, but the left, you would agree that they have already turned away from the true God, and their God is Satan, their father. Because they live every kind of, right? Their father's the devil, right?
Correct political belief is never going to,
But I'm asking you, the ones on the left, is Satan their father?
Look, no.
Satan's not their father?
Satan's not their father.
Well, how are they able to be so mean and nasty and do all these weird things and wear pussy hats on your head and want to blow up the White House and so radical if the true God is their God? Because there's no love in their actions at all.
Well, I don't
and you would
think
agree
there's
to that,
all
right?
much love when you call people nasty people. Look,
but they call themselves dirty people.
When remember that the whole phrase nasty woman, it's taken on like this irony there. Remember there was the Trump debate where
Well,
he turned to
he called Hillary
and said nasty woman.
Yeah.
And then people just took it up to ironize. It's an irony. It's not to say we are actually nasty women. It's to sort of say
But they
identify.
looked pretty nasty, and they were acting nasty, wearing those hats and the things they were saying.
You really are obsessed with those hats, which was
Because I thought it was such a disgrace. I would have never allowed any woman in my life to do that. I would not have allowed that because it showed who those people really are, and they're not the type of women that you would want to make a family with. You wouldn't want them to even be in your family.
A lot of those women came with their husbands and children.
It's so unfortunate. Are you in support of illegals coming in?
I don't like your question, so I'm not going to answer that.
How about you? Are you in support of illegal aliens coming into the country?
I don't support the way you are phrasing that question, so I won't answer it.
Do you try again?
Are you in support of open borders?
I am in support of open borders.
Does it bother you do you care that illegals coming in are destroying the black community and black Americans in the area of jobs, houses, education?
Well, there are several other systematic layers of racism that go beyond immigration, and I think that looking at different groups who are minorities and attacking each other is exactly what the white man wants.
No, Matthew, do you care that illegal aliens are affecting black people?
I think that this system is simply putting people against each other, and you're looking at the wrong system.
Do you care about the negative impact illegal aliens are having on black people?
I won't answer that question.
Let me ask you, are a feminist, right? Mm-hmm. You are a feminist. Mm-hmm. And what is that?
Well, a feminist believes it's a fairly simple definition again. You know, a feminist believes that women should have the same rights and responsibilities as men.
Is there a difference between men and women?
There are some differences.
Other than the physical, is there a difference?
In terms of other differences, they are minimal. Like, for instance, we know that men have slightly, on average, better visual perception. Women have better language skills, but a lot of that actually depends upon how they're socialized. So yes, there are differences, but the differences are so small that they can easily be counted.
Most women tend to be emotional, and their decisions are made on what they think and how they feel, and which can cause a lot of destruction. I noticed that mothers and grandmothers, not all but most, they tend, if left alone with the children, they tend to screw up the children because it's based on emotions and what they think. Whereas fathers, men, their decisions are based on logic. It has nothing to do with what they think or feel. It's logic. It makes sense, and it's, and it tends to give life where women tend to destroy.
What can I say? What planet are you on? What country? I mean,
Planet reality.
Mr. Trump. I mean, whatever you can say about him, whether you like him or love him.
I love him.
But the reason why I think people love him is that he's not going to.
He's a real man.
He's not going to do this rational stuff. He's going to speak to you and like he's emotional.
No, he's already doing it. He's already putting up the beautiful wall around the borders. Where he has a beard out now to put the beautiful wall up. He's cut back on tax and
That sounds pretty emotional to me.
He's protecting us from our enemies, even though the left's trying to stop him. The
But
man is keeping it
you're talking
worse.
from emotion. Look,
I'm telling you reality.
But I think the big problem is, you need both. I don't think that women are more emotional than men. I think women
You are
often,
not paying attention.
Women, I think, often express their emotions more than men, often articulate them better.
Because men are not operating. That's why you don't hear from men that often.
But men often, they have emotions which they do not articulate, which they do not express. And when those are left unexpressed and unexplored, they just explode in 140 tweets.
But you have to agree with me that a man who has emotions like that is of his mother. That's his mother identity that's made a home in him. It is abnormal for men.
So you're blaming President Trump on his mother?
President Trump is operating out of logic. That's why everybody hate him, because he represents man. He is the real
Look,
deal.
look, there are plenty of Republicans
because
who I
men are
would say
hated.
operate out of logic. I don't agree with them. I don't agree with Paul Ryan.
Those are
I don't
rhinos. They don't count.
Paul
A
Ryan.
rhino.
I mean,
A stone.
John McCain.
Rhino.
Again, like
That's why we were not getting anywhere, because we had girly men lying to us. The real deal came. I do want to go back to what sin is. I agree with you that sin.
I mean, you have a really weird idea of girly men.
What do you mean?
You know, I just mentioned like, pretty like, war veterans, pretty straight, normally masculine man. I mean,
Well, then
who's
why
not
couldn't
a
they-
girly
why
man? Who's,
couldn't they-
I mean, who's, by your opinion, is not a girly man?
Why couldn't they? Trump is not a girly man. Sheriff Clark.
Because
You know who Sheriff Clark is, right? Not a girly man.
So, but you're
The sheriff from Arizona, Arpaio. Not a girly man.
Being
Obama,
girly.
girly man. A feminist, first feminist president.
A girly man for you is somebody who likes
Obama.
being basically mean to other people and
repeat
doesn't
that.
sort of think about the policy ramifications of that. I mean, look, one of the biggest fears that I have is that when the ordinary people who believe President Trump feel betrayed, that this will lead to a huge upsurge of anger in this country. And we are going to have greater division. We are going to have greater violence.
Well, that
because
happened
people are gonna
under
feel
Barack
that-
Obama. That's why we have President Trump. Because ordinary people became disgusted and angry at Obama because he divided the country, he weakened the nation, he took away the jobs, he taxes the reservation, and he let all the illegal aliens come in. He just created total chaos, and it made the people angry. And then he tried to leave out the working class white men and white people, and so we felt the pain of Barack Obama, and that's why we ended up, thank God, with a man like Donald Trump. Have you
who
ever
on this very day may be gutting health benefits for folks,
Right
the
on.
people who voted for him.
We want the health costs to go down. We want to
Well,
keep
our
our doctors. We want to keep our health care plan, which Obama lied about. I do want to correct something about sin. I want to put it out there that I agree with you that sin is man or woman playing God. When you fall away from God, you wake up to becoming your own God. So you have a wrong impression about yourself, a wrong impression about what's happening around, in your life and with others. And that's what we see on the left. They operate.
We see it on the right as well.
Yeah, you can find it on the right too. I totally agree. You can find it on the right, but it's out of control and it's obvious on the left, and that they have fallen away from God and they have a false impression of themselves. Donald Trump is reminding them that they are wrong and they can't handle it. I do want to ask, have you ever in your lifetime seen a man like President Trump that the media, the Democrats, the liberals, the progressive, the rhino Republicans, and other people in other parts of the world try to stop from day one, and they have not been able to do it? And he's not angry, the president is not angry, he doesn't overreact. Have you ever seen a real man before President Trump?
I did my graduate studies in Germany in the 70s, just at the period when we began to explore in Germany how they'd ended up with Hitler. So I've never in my lifetime seen anything like this, but I have read about historical processes.
And
that
are you
led
comparing the
to-
president to Hitler?
I think that we are in a very dangerous situation
Are you
with this
comparing
man
the president
because
to
he-
Hitler?
Because he is beyond everything that has been normal within politics.
Are you comparing
talk
the, you're
about
not answering,
left,
let
you
me ask
talk
this because of
about-
time.
You talk about
Are you
left
comparing
and
the
right.
President Trump to Hitler?
You talk about left and right, but we are no longer in a situation where the labels left and right make much sense.
No,
And
the
once
people
that-
on my team, we're having a ball. We're totally enjoying this. We are happy that the left is suffering and feeling the pain and unhappy, and they can finally feel what we felt for 8 years under Barack Obama. So the people on the left are feeling all this stuff. On the right, we are having a good time. Some of these dirty women are claiming that President Trump is trying to take away their rights as women. Do you believe that?
I think the only people that can take away our rights is really us. You know, when we stand up for the whole, the all, as in the planet, then it's far beyond Trump. It has nothing to do with him anymore. It's really about the spiritual state of the collective whole.
So do you think that the president is trying to take away rights from dirty women?
I think the president is trying to take the rights away from anyone that doesn't have as much money as he needs to invest in other things.
What has he done to imply that he's trying to take away the rights from other people?
Just the continuous lies. I feel like anyone that lies to me, bold-faced lies to me, is taking something from me.
What has he...
On top of the appointment of all the sinister people that he's put in power and put in positions of power.
What has he lied about?
Let's be clear that he has lied about being for women. He's lied about being for the United States and having us at the best that we are, that we can be. He is lying to us that alone.
But what has he done to... Do you agree with her that he's lied? Do you agree with her?
I feel that he has been distrustful in everything that he says. It's not specifically about women per se, but he's not to be trusted about anything he says.
When President Trump won, I woke up that morning on the 9th of November 2016. I ran to the TV, turned it on Fox News, because I wanted to hear the truth. And they said Donald Trump had won. Immediately, I went to cloud nine, and I've been dancing on the ceiling ever since. Because finally, he brought some light back into my country. There's hope. There's goodwill among the people on the right side now. And the people on the left are suffering, which is fine with me and with most normal folks. So I think that's what you were saying.
I don't think it is, but the thing is, one person cannot bring down civilization.
Bring it down?
One person can never bring down civilization.
Obama tried, though.
But it's always when civilization breaks down, as it did in Germany in 1930s, and that's the danger that we have to.
But let me ask: are you comparing the president to Hitler? You didn't answer that yet.
I am.
Give me a yes or no.
I am comparing not. It's not about individuals. It's more about you and people like you who seem. No, you talk about being. Occasionally about love, but you seem to be filled with hatred. You're
judging me.
I am judging because you.
But you shouldn't judge. You're a Catholic.
Because you are actually talking about. You're so happy that the left is suffering. So
I am. I'm rejoicing.
You're so happy that the mother who's an undocumented alien is being deported to Mexico. You're so happy about.
I didn't say that, but
well,
I am happy.
You seem to be, and that is
I
how
do want the illegal sent back, but
this is how civilization breaks down. It's not because of one person. Again, let me say it. You cannot blame Trump for becoming president. You cannot blame Trump for being elected president.
Right, we voted for him.
Yes, and that's it. You can blame the people who voted for
Thank
him.
God. So let me ask.
You are the people who are responsible, not for Trump's actions, not Trump himself.
Let me ask, are you comparing the President Trump to Hitler? Give me a yes or no on that.
I'm comparing the situation we are in now to the situation.
No, I ask you, had you ever seen a real man prior to Donald Trump and you went way back and pulled Hitler out of the grave? So I'm asking you, are you comparing President Trump to Hitler? Yes or no?
I'm comparing our situation now with what happened in Germany in the 1930s.
But why would you bring that up when I ask, had you seen a real man prior to President Trump? Why would you bring up Hitler?
What I am pointing to is we tend to focus on the individuals, but the real perpetrators of the evil are not the individuals.
You're not answering my question.
It's their followers.
But why did you bring up Hitler when I asked about, had you seen a real man prior to President Trump? You went back and brought up Hitler. Why?
Because in the 1930s...
So you're not comparing him to Hitler, right?
The supporters of Hitler used exactly the same language of, like, he's the real man.
Well,
and
we saw that with Obama,
these were the people who actually, in the end, committed the atrocities. It's not, you can't ever blame one person.
So
you actually have
are you
to look
saying
at the
that
followers.
the people who voted for President Trump are Hitler-like people?
It's not about an individual.
I don't know what you're saying, though. I don't know why you, with a good man like him, I don't know why you would bring up
talking about other people as nasty. You're glad that they're suffering, and how that creates a mindset in which you become capable to commit any act against other people.
Did you see that happening with Barack Obama? The people who voted for him and supported him, they went total radical on us and nearly destroyed the country. Would you compare them to the people who voted for Hitler as well?
No, because under Obama, the economy was rebuilt, unemployment went down.
That is not fair.
That people's wages began to rise.
No.
Yes,
that's not true.
They did rise.
Full-time employees went to part-time. People got laid off because of Obamacare, and all kind of mess happened. Let me ask.
We have 4.7% unemployment in the country. This is the legacy from Obama.
Let me ask.
We have an economy that at least is working, which is
they bring home less money and all kinds of things. But we're out of time, so I can't really get into it. But I do want to ask, you support abortion, right?
I support women's right to choose an abortion if they so wish.
And you're a feminist. Do you hate men?
No, I don't hate men.
But feminists do hate men.
Look, the reality is that feminists don't hate men. Our studies show that feminists are amongst, feminists married to men are amongst, those are the happiest heterosexual marriages.
No, the men are not happy.
Oh, the men seem to be very happy.
Well, they might be happy having a lot of sex, but that's about it. But let me ask you this. Did you have fun?
Today? I like debate. As a TV host, it's your job to spark controversy. But, I think that this sort of nasty people trying to find common ground. And, if we are not to end up in this country in a very dark place.
We won't now, don't worry.
We're going to need to find common ground.
So did you have fun?
Actually, I think I'd have enjoyed it better talking to Glenn Beck, who probably you think is a girly man.
So did you have fun?
It was an interesting experience.
But not fun. Illegals that are coming in, they are affecting the black community first. Do you care about that?
Shame on you for letting them divide black and brown people. That should not happen. None of us should be separated by anything that state is trying to do. We should stay together, we should stick together, and we need to quit being afraid of each other. We're just human beings. We're all here for the same reason, to love each other.
Are all white people racist?
Well, I think the structure we live inside is racist.
But it's a white structure, right?
It's definitely been created by white people.
So are all white people racist?
I don't think people are racist. I think we live inside of a racist structure that we should all be working to bring down.
State.
Do you agree that most women, when the men are weak, they end up screwing the children?
I'm not going to be arguing.
It's not argument.
I know where I'm at. I see where you at, and I know where I'm at. You here to ask questions to get us riled up.
No, I'm not.
We're not here for that. Okay?
Real fast.
No, you're on my time. We're not going to sit here and let the enemy flush us out and try to make us look a certain way on TV.
Thank you for watching The Fallen State. If you like the shows, I want you to subscribe here and donate here.